So in this final example, we've got a real life situation which can be solved if we create an inequality. So we're told here that the bakery's got fixed operating costs of £3,500 per day. That would cover things like rent and heating, etc. Plus the bakery has a cost of £1.40 for every cake that they manufacture. We're told that the cakes are going to sell for £4.20, and we're asked what's the fewest number of cakes the bakery must produce per day to make a profit. So you can see straight away if they only made one cake or two cakes, then selling them for £4.20 is not going to cover anywhere near covering the sort of cost that they have for the factory. So there must be a number of cakes that they can that they must sell per day so that they can actually start making profit. And I think it's probably a good idea just to note down that for profit to actually take place, then the sales that the bakery make, so however many cakes they can sell here, needs to be greater than the cost that the bakery has to pay every day. So basic business there. If you want to make some profit, your sales need to be greater than your cost. Now, sales in this case, the only way they can take in money is by selling these cakes at £4.20. I think if we introduce the letter C here for the number of cakes, C equals cakes, then if we sold one cake, then it would be one lot of £4.20. If we sold 10 cakes, it would be 10 lots of £4.20. We're selling C cakes, we don't know the exact number, C cakes, so C lots of £4.20, which it's sensible just to write it as 4.2C. You can lose the zero and lose the pound sign. Really all that matters is the numerical part here, 4.2C. So that's the sales. That's got to be greater than the cost, and the cost is £1.40 per cake, and multiply that by the number of cakes that we're selling. Don't forget though that their costs also include this £3,500. So we're looking now to try and solve this inequality to get the value of C. The first thing to do would be subtract that 1.4 from both sides to give you 2.8C is greater than 3,500, and then we're looking to try and solve this for C by dividing both sides by 2.8. Now this is a non-calculator question, deliberately set it up just to test the numeracy skills. We can deal with this. The first thing to do would be to simplify it though, and although there are a variety of ways of dealing with this, because you know your 7 times table, you know 7 goes into 35 and you know 7 goes into 28, then we can divide both these values by 7 and either set this out, or maybe you can do it in your head, but 3,500 divided by 7 is 500, and because 28 divided by 7 is 4, then 2.8 divided by 7 is 0.4. A pretty ugly fraction here, but we can carry on with it, and we can divide 500 by 0.4. Now I'll just change colour, do this over the side here. Again, sort of going back to something that you know, like 50 divided by 4, dividing anything by 4, just half it and half it again. So half of 50 is 25, and half of that is 12.5. So that's 50 divided by 4. It's not quite what we've got here, but we can build it up to what we've got by saying if 50 divided by 4 is 12.5, then 500, which is 10 times bigger, divided by 4 would be 125. And then finally, 500 divided by not 4, but 0.4, so something 10 times smaller. When you divide by something that's getting 10 times smaller, your answer would be 10 times bigger. And there's one way, and there are other ways, but there's one way of dealing with 500 divided by 0.4. So that turns out to be 1,250. So they need to make more than 1,250 cakes. So actually, what's the fewest number of cakes they must produce per day to make profit? It's 1,251 cakes, and then what they'll be doing is making profit in there. So 1,251 cakes to make profit. Since the question had some sort of context, then it's a really good idea to communicate your answer back in some sort of sentence. And again, we were told here that we figured out in this inequality that for profit, the number of cakes needed to be greater than 1,250. So the 1,250 first cake would be the one that actually starts to make profit. And what you can do here, if you wanted to, would be to take this 1,250 and substitute it back in. And what you'll find is that that's actually the break-even number of cakes. So they would make zero profit and zero loss with 1,250 cakes, but 1,251 they start to make some profit.